Hello everybody, and welcome to another deck profile on YGO. Okay, so this is spoiler, that's the wrong deck. We don't talk about that deck. Pretend you didn't see it. I'll be doing a profile of that later. But today, we are showcasing FLUFFALs and FRAGFers and edge imps. Now, reason for this, I'm going to a tournament later on this month. And my friend was like, oh, I want to build a new deck, because he played Ignite Zexal FDK. And he was like, oh, I want to build a new deck, I'm bored of this deck. It relies on me going first. I want a deck that relies on me going second. Apologize for my voice. I'm apologizing for my voice, yeah. Not the best. But, so, I was like, dude, play FLUFFALs. It's lit. It's a great deck for going second. You don't need hand traps or like any of the dumbass expensive cards like Vanities, Dimensional Barrier, freaking Twin Twisters. It's a budget deck. We made this deck on eBay for around 40 to 45 pounds, with extra deck, not counting side deck, just 40-45 main deck and extra deck. This is my version of the deck. It's slightly different to his, but this is like the one I feel like it's the simplest, but also the most like effective. So, on the deck profile, you play 3 dog. This card is amazing. With the new support that we got in Fusion Forces with FLUFFAL Penguin, you open up these two and you pop off. You just pop off because it's just too good. So dog, when he's normal special summon, you add an edge imp or a FLUFFAL monster from your deck to your hand. So he's your searcher, and he's most likely the card you're going to be normal summoning if you have it in the hand around 80% of the time, unless you have Penguin. I mean, 50-50, to be honest with you, sir. So, he's your searcher. FLUFFAL Penguin is your normal summon, then special summon from the hand. So, you normal summon Penguin, and then you special summon a FLUFFAL from the hand, which is really good because some of the FLUFFALs can, some of the other ones have good effects. Or it just allows you to put things on the board faster. But essentially you want a Penguin then dog. And then also you can draw like 2 cards. If this card is sent to the graveyard as fusion material for a fusion monster, you draw 2 cards. Then you discard 1 card, which is a really good effect if you have FLUFFAL Wing in hand. Or something else, even like Toy Vendor. Just solid card, good effects overall. It also has decent attack for a level 4. So if there's like something with like 1500 defense or less, you're good to go. 3 edge imp chain, this is like the best edge imp, because you add another chain when it declares an attack, and if it's sent from hand or field to the graveyard, you add a FRAGFer card from your deck to your hand. So this will most likely be FRAGFer Fusion. So it's just a good card, and you use it to fuse with stuff. And you know, it has good defense, good effect. Then 3 FLUFFAL Bear. You discard it, and then you add a Toy Vendor from your deck to the spell and trap zone, and then you treat it to add a polymerization. You don't use that effect as often. You usually just go for the Toy Vendor play to get that nice card advantage, because FLUFFALs do like card advantage, and whenever they fuse, they don't feel like they lose any resources essentially, because they just keep fusing over and over again, and they just don't lose resources. They just keep coming back up. So Bear, you know, pretty good. 2 Sabers, because this card, you recycle it a lot, and it's just a name, essentially. You use it for the recycling effect, and it's a name. Then you have 3 King of Swamp. Pardon me. The reason you run King of Swamp is you discard it for poly, or it's a substitute, because we are not, for example, in FRAGFer Leo, we are not playing Edge and Saw, so your King of Swamp makes Leo. Or if you don't have, for example, a let's say you want to make Saber Tiger, Saber Tooth, but you don't have the other FLUFFAL. King of Swamp becomes the FLUFFAL, or like for sabers, for example. See, because with sabers, you do use it to make some more important ones like Wolf and Tiger, especially these two. That's why you have sabers. And if you don't have sabers, you have your King of Swamp that becomes saber. So essentially, you have 5 sabers. So you can make these two Frighters. Owl is good because if it's special summon, since it does have the special summoning option, you can combo with Penguin to add that polymerization, and then you can, I guess you can also fusion without, but you have to pay the life points without the polymerization card. But you don't really want to pay your life points because 500, it's good when you compare it to something like instant fusion, but you mainly use it for the poly search. Now, FLUFFAL Octopus is really, really, really good, and if you want to make this like a 43 or 42 card deck, definitely bump up FLUFFAL Octopus. But essentially, again, normal or special, so comboing off Penguin, you target a FLUFFAL or Edge Imp in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So right there, going second or like fourth, for example, and you need those resources back. Boom, play Penguin, play FLUFFAL, get whatever it is in your graveyard back to your hand, fusion summon, pop off, combos, you break your opponent's board, and you OTK them. So, and then, if the card is used as a fusion material for a fight for fusion monster, you target 2 banished monsters and return them to the graveyard. Now, this is so good because you no longer have to run Lavier in your extra deck to bring back the banished fusion materials from Fight for Fusion, and you just use Octopus. So, now I am running my tech card, Fight for Factory, but you could take this out and put in a third FLUFFAL Octo, and it would not hurt you. FLUFFAL Wing, really good card. If it's in the graveyard and you control Toy Vendor, you banish this card, and then you target a FLUFFAL monster in your graveyard, and also banish it, and then you draw. So you just like draw 2 cards by sending Toy Vendor and another FLUFFAL from graveyard. So you usually do Bear and Wing, you banish those 2, and Toy Vendor from the field, and then you draw 2 cards, which is really, really good. Again, like, it stops, you don't have to run like some of the draw power cards like Upstart Goblin or whatever. Although, even if you did run Upstart Goblin, it would not give your opponent the life points they gain from it become meaningless, since like a couple of cards in your extra deck just attack multiple times, so it doesn't really matter. Now, after the spells, instant fusion. You can change the instant fusion for like useful traps or other FLUFFALs, like Rabbit is a good one, or even FLUFFAL Mouse. But the reason I'm on instant fusion is the Northern play, which allows me to bring back a penguin or a dog, or just any monster really that I can then fusion summon, or I can go into an Xyz play. So that's mainly why you run instant fusion, either for a fusion or an Xyz play. Fight for Fusion is like Blessed. You fusion summon by banishing monsters from your graveyard. Blessed, it's amazing. 3. One Raigeki, it's at 1, and why wouldn't you play it since you have the space? And it's just more removal, and I guess you can also use Raigeki to clear monsters and use Tiger to pop back row. It's just Raigeki, it's a good card. Fusion Recovery, and it just allows you to recycle stuff. This is why the deck doesn't lose card, like it doesn't lose resources, because it's always bringing stuff back from the grave to your hand. So it's just good. Then 2 poly and 1 fusion substitute. You could potentially run 3 poly, but fusion substitute is Blessed. So this is standard poly, you probably know what it does, it's just fusion summon. And then this is, you also fusion summon, but then you can banish it from the graveyard to target a fusion monster in your extra deck and you return it. So, say for example, you have your dead Frightful Kraken. You fusion substitute into something like Tiger, pop back row, and then banish substitute, and bring back your Kraken to the extra deck, and you draw a card. So, it's just a better poly. But you don't want to, like... It's good, but... At 1 is fine. Now, my tech card is Frightful Factory. I do not understand why people don't play this, because this card is blessed, and it does so much for the deck in the mid-late game, since, say your opponent plays Deep Barrier, and they know you're playing FLUFFALs, you're stunned for a whole turn. You can't do anything. I guess you can make Xyz plays, but even if you make Xyz plays, I have Cowboy for game, and Castell and Dark Rebellion for removal. So, I don't really have an Xyz that you can sit on other than Cowboy. And usually you want Cowboy for game. Now, with Frightful Factory, it's a continuous spell, so you'll make sure that they'll have to, like, use a Twin Twister or something. And you banish your poly, or any, like, fusion spell from your graveyard except Wave Motion, and you fusion summon a Frightful from your extra deck using materials from your hand or side of the field. Now, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a banished Frightful Fusion and add it to your hand. I mean, you have 3, with this you have 4, and it's just another fusion card that it doesn't hurt you. It's a continuous spell, so you can use it once per turn, allowing you to save the more important resources. And, like, you have a ridiculous amount. You have 12 fusions, okay? Well, 11 really, because Norden used instant fusion. But I guess you could technically, if you have a useless Castell and a useless Dark Rebellion, you can always make Norden. But, you know, by useless I mean, like, if they don't have materials, since both of these use two materials for their effect, and I guess Castell can also use 1, but most of the time you use 2. You just, you can use, like, your poly or whatever. But, it's just, it's a good card, and people don't expect it, and I don't see anyone playing it. I just keep it at 1, since it is searchable with, which one? Oh, this. It's searchable off chain. So, you know, 3 Toy Vendor, you know, it's standard, just Toy Vendor, good card. Speeds up the deck, and then card advantage. And then for traps I run 2 Fusion Reserve, because you're only running 2 Polymerization. So, and you might banish 1 off Frightful Factory, so the Fusion Reserve just helps you recycle stuff, so you can make more fusions. So as you can see, like, I'm running 23 monsters, 15 spells, and 2 traps. You just want to make as many fusions as you can, because your fusions are essentially your spells. Now, for monsters, 1 Sabertooth, because you need to make him with a Frightful and a FLUFFAL or edge him, so automatically you need a fusion on the field to make him. And then the good thing is he brings back the Frightful that he used. So yeah, you fusion summon him, and then you special summon the Frightful, and all Frightfuls gain 400 attack. And if he was made with 3 or more fusion materials, it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, so you have an invincible card. Well, against monsters. So, it's just really good. And the attack boost is especially nice when some monsters like Kraken are attacking twice. With extra 400, that's an extra 800 damage, which is 1 ability of Cowboy. It does make a difference when it adds up and you have 2 Krakens on the field, and you're just pumping out an extra 1600 damage. So, Frightful, staple, play it. 2 Kraken, I mean, it does have more defense than Tiger, and it also has more attack than Tiger, but what it does is, you target 1 monster your opponent controls and send it to the graveyard. So it doesn't destroy, it sends, And see, that's good because it stops monsters being destroyed by card effects, since you're not destroying them, you're just sending them to the graveyard. And then, however, you can't attack your opponent directly, but that doesn't really matter because you have that good effect to just destroy a monster, and you can also just attack monsters with it. And then if it makes a second attack, you just change it to battle. You change it to defense. So you're sitting on a nice 3,000 wall. Leo, you only play one because it has to be fusion summon, and like it's like your Volcasaurus essentially, where you destroy and you inflict damage equal to the monster's original attack. It's basically your Volcasaurus. It's a fusion Volcasaurus. And it stops you. It stops him from attacking directly. But with 2,400, when you're destroying something like, I don't know, a Blue Eyes White Dragon, and you're inflicting 3,000 damage, the effect doesn't really matter as much. It's mainly just to get rid of like annoying cards that can be targeted because the card does target. Then you play one Fright for Bear. I do like the name Death Toy a lot better than Fright for, but Konami translations and whatnot. But the good thing about this card is it's a 2,200, and when it destroys a monster, you equip it to this card, and you make it 3,200. Now, you can do it up to 5 times if you destroy 5 monsters, and you have a card with like 7,000 attack or something on the field, just because it keeps getting stronger. And you do force your opponent to get rid of it. It's a problematic card. Not like an OT. You don't use it for OTKs. You use it for like the mid game. This is why I built the deck this way, because it does have options in the mid game with Bear and Leo and Fractal Factory. And then you play 2 Wolf. Now, I guess you could change Wolf to 1 and bump Tiger to 3. But, with Wolf, its effect is pretty simple, where, depending on how many, fusion materials you use, it can make that number of, attacks. So if you use, like, 3 fusion materials, so 1 Edge and Sabers and then, 2 Fluffals, it can attack, 3 times. Minimum will always attack twice, so minimum, you're always dealing 4k damage directly, but you can make it 6,000, or like 8,000. You can go as ridiculous as making your opponent like take 10,000 damage if you really want to. Then you play 2 Tiger or 3 personal. It's just you make it and you pop stuff equal to the amount of cards used to make it. And your Frightfurs also get an attack boost. So with Frightfur and with Tiger and Sabertooth, all your Frightfurs are getting an extra 700 damage, which is a lot, to be honest. So this attacks equal to the amount of fusion materials, and this destroys equal to the amount of fusion materials used. So you always want to be making this card as much as you can, just get rid of that problem, the back row. It's just a solid card. So its attack will always be 2,100 because of the boost, since it targets itself. Then you play 2 Sheep. Sheep is good because it keeps it returns from the graveyard. So if this card attacks or is attacked, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step, which is really, really good. And then if it's destroyed by battle, or sent to the graveyard, you can special summon it, and it gains 800 attack. So it goes from a 2,000 damage dealer to a 2,800. And that's pretty big, since like Monarchs are always like 2,800. There's a bunch of like 2,008, essentially just below 2,800 cards that you can just get over with. And then the Northern for bringing back a FLUFFAL or whatever to do a fusion or to go into an Xyz play. That's pretty much it. You play Dark Rebellion to get rid of cards that you have to battle them instead of destroying them with card effects. You could play the Utopia package, but because of space, I just play Dark Rebellion instead. And then Castell to Book of Moon or shuffle them back into the deck. Castell. And Cowboy for game. Most of the time you make Cowboy for game. Now for the side deck, it's up to you, but I'm playing the Brilliant. I've got the Brilliant Fusion engine on the side deck. You could like put it in the main deck by taking like Instant Fusion out, taking the Fusion Reserves out, maybe like putting Owl to 1, or just making like a 40 whatever card deck, like 45 if you really want to. You play the Brilliant Fusion engine with Seraph Knight. It's whatever. I don't personally like it. I just keep it in the side deck in case I need it. Because, I mean, it is good since you get that extra normal summon. That's pretty much like it. Although, like, it goes to 0 attack due to Brilliant Fusion, and that extra normal summon does help out quite a bit. And then, but however, like, you can only really make Brilliant Fusion with, like, I mean, Seraph Knight, since when this card is activated, you fusion summon a Gem Knight from your extra deck using monsters from your deck as fusion materials, but you change its attack to 0. So, Now, there is a version of this deck called Totally Awesome Turbo. I know that's the tunes, never mind. But the reason why I have Bahamut Shark as a side is because if you play Bahamut, you need your Norden and you need Penguin. But if your opponent knows like how to counter your deck, they make you go first. The deck wants to go second, and if your opponent makes you go first, you have to like side in the Bahamut Shark, because negation with Totally Awesome does hurt them a lot. But I only play this engine as a side because if I'm forced to go second, that's when you play it. Twin Twister, it's good. It's really good in this deck because you can discard Wing, and it's beneficial since you don't want Wing in your hand anyways. I mean, you can fusion summon with it, or you can like Brilliant Fusion with it, but most of the time you just want it in the graveyard as much as you want. I mean, as much as possible. So you could also like play Foolish Burial in the deck, as it allows you to have Wing in the grave. But Twin Twister just, discard one, pop 2. But like, I side it because Tiger does that better. Tiger does Twin Twister better. And if they play Anti-Spell Fragrance or whatnot, it just doesn't hurt me because I'm playing Tiger. That's why, like, you can put Tiger to 3. It's Twin Twister, but better, in my opinion. And that's pretty much it now. I am going to be reprofiling this deck when this card comes out. Frightful Patchwork. This card is busted. And it comes out on March the 30th. So you can expect the profile again when this card comes out, because you add a Poly and an Edge monster from your deck to your hand. Plus 1 card advantage. And with a Poly and an Edge, aka you probably want Scissors, you make Tiger with 1 card most of the time. If you have a FLUFFAL in the hand, you end up making Tiger with a single card. It's amazing. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. But until then, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.